Hey guys, my name is Faraz Haider and welcome back to the channel. This is, if you count only the videos that are still on my channel, my 50th upload on this YouTube channel. My gosh, it has been a wild ride to get here. But we are now at 50 still existing uploads on this channel. Incredible. And today we're going to celebrate with my good friends Vincent, or Vince, and Leo Katarmior. So I'm really excited for this. We're going to react to each other's playlists for a special 50th upload special video. And I hope you guys enjoy this video. I'm really looking forward to hearing what they've compiled for me to listen to. I've compiled some stuff for them to listen to. It's going to be exciting. I'm really looking forward to this. So let's get to it, guys. Well, whenever they show up. I'm sure they're on their way. I know Vince is online right now. He's just chilling. Yeah, we'll be right back, I guess, because I don't think these guys are going to be there right away, but once they're here, I'll let you guys know, and we'll resume. Oh, there we go. Okay, so they're setting up now. So I just set up my screen recorder, and I think we're all good to go. So, yeah, dudes, this is going to be exciting. Yeah, let's do this. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. How about you?
I'm doing well. I'm just waiting for this playlist to finally start playing because I'm so excited.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how to
As am
press
I.
play. I guess Leo has to do that?
I have to make everything work.
Yeah, I see. I see. This is going to be exciting. Reacting to each other's preferences. This will be exciting. Playlists.
Mhm.
This will be a nice way to kick off the 50th video special.
Yes.
All right. And we can always
Time
react
on.
in the chat as well, but obviously it's more interesting when we're in VC. So, yeah, let's do it.
Hmm. Yeah.
All right.
All right, here we go. First off, we have the Bach Kempf Siciliano, played by Robert Reifling, because I think he plays it better than Kempf. Kempf is a much better arranger than he is well, not, what is it, pianist. But you'll see that I also have later on an interesting Kempf recording that's actually really interesting. I think I said interesting twice. Anyways, let's press play. Okay.
You're running for me.
I can start it again. Okay.
Okay, well, there we go. There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
So that's the first recording I chose.
Shall I pause?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
sure.
pause. You can pause. You want to share any thoughts? What do you think? Positives, negatives, something in between, anything. Hit me.
Well, it reminds me of that time we had a voice chat together.
Yeah, I
And we talked
remember.
about this piece. You did talk about wanting to ameliorate your play through that piece.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how well that went.
I think it's something I haven't found the time for yet because I'm just so busy all the time, but I really still want to do it.
Well, it shouldn't really be something you negotiate with.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
it's as if you're saying, oh, I don't have time for musicality.
That's true. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, but yeah, I think this is a really good piece. I think it's really cool, and yeah, I really should be doing more interesting things like you and Vince do. I always feel a little small in comparison to you two.
Oh, we're just trying our best. We're not doing that much either. At least I could do much more. Vincent is doing very well in that regard.
Yeah, Vince is a Giga Chad.
I don't know if I would. I'm honored, although I don't know if I would necessarily use that term to describe myself.
Fair enough. Fair
I
enough.
regarding, I mean, I quite like this transcription. I think I noticed toward the end the performer added some sort of ascending bass line, which was not in the score.
Yeah.
I think I would have appreciated perhaps because Kemp, when he transcribed it, what is it?
It kind of reminds me of like one of the Busoni organ transcriptions in a way because of the um,
Yeah.
usage of octaves, which you don't find
Well,
that as much in the Alcon transcription of the same piece.
what I was going to say is that because Kemp repeats,
Yeah.
he adds a repeat to the first half of this piece not like the large to the majority of this piece. I think it would have been interesting, and I would have liked to see this more from the performer to vary the second instance of the repeat, for example, through bringing out inner voices or
Something
adding
like that,
some
yeah.
ornamentation. I suppose giving a more
Improvisatory?
improvisatory, yeah, uh, spirit to the piece.
Yeah.
I recognize there's
It
also
is
not
supposed
a
to be
lot of,
improvisatory.
yeah, yeah. I also recognize there aren't, I don't think, at least in my opinion, there aren't a lot of good recordings of this piece out there.
Yeah, not a lot. In any case, do we want to go to the next piece in the collection?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. I kind of forgot what's next. So let's see. Oh, this one. This is probably the slowest recording on record of the Chopin Nocturnes.
You mean in general?
In general, I think so.
You would call it the Nocturnes? Well, there's also would it be number one Nocturne?
I really, wow, 8 minutes and 20 seconds. you want to pause to say something?
I mean,
Let me turn up your volume real quick.
We could listen first and then
Comment, yeah, comment later. Yeah, okay. Do we want to pause and react now?
Sure.
So,
Certainly.
what did you guys think? Positives, negatives, anything in between? Hit me.
I said this to Leo before, that I don't unconditionally apply the principle that slower is better, but I often find personally that for that to be the case, and I think in the Chopin Nocturne, for example, I think it's and a lot of other of the nocturnes are played more effectively, in my opinion, when they're played slower. You mentioned Bollet has a number of the Chopin Nocturne recordings. There's also Nyiregyhazi also recorded the F minor one.
Yes.
Number one.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. Yeah.
And there are also the Opus 27 number one. I can think of, there's an incomplete recording by Bartok.
Right.
Also piano roll by De Pacman.
Right.
In terms of slow recordings,
There's really not much slow recordings out there, I don't think.
yeah, I find a good deal of performers, for my taste, kind of just, they play these works
Maybe a tad too fast, maybe? For your taste?
I think a kind of a nonchalant attitude in general.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
What? Yeah.
You want to know something interesting, actually, is that I actually once did a speed test of this recording and compared it to a more standard recording of this nocturne. And the results I got were pretty funny. I found out this recording was about 32% slower than Polini's recording. 32% is like a lot, but I think it works really well here.
Yeah.
Leo, your thoughts?
It also reminds me of the Pogorelic recording of the C minor nocturne. I don't have the opus numbers. I'm better with keys.
Oh yeah, I forgot. How can I forget about that one? Yeah, that.
It's a classic.
Well, I think I remember we were talking about the Liszt Sonata and how you were saying even 30 minutes, which is, I think, around the standard time doesn't feel right. You were saying that 50 minutes is the only way to go. In reference to Pogorelic.
It really. Well, I'm torn on the Liszt Sonata because I found some other recording. Sidon has a recording in 25 minutes, I think, and it's one of my favorites also. So I think, let me catch back to your slower is better.
Yeah.
I don't think slower necessarily on its own is better. What I like is a greater tempo amplitude. When there is, in the same span, quicker and slower tempos at the same time. I like the extremes that you get when you combine both. And Pogorelic does this really well. He doesn't really slow down all the time for the Liszt Sonata.
Right.
But he takes pauses, for instance, and then he plays quickly. And I think this really works very well, especially in these... Well, actually everywhere. I don't think this doesn't work because I think it's a very human way to play.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think even with this Chopin Nocturne, personally, because Bollet sort of, he takes it slowly throughout. I think if I were to play this, I would play the outer sections quite slowly. But then the tempestuous B minor section, I would play it quite quickly.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that he was a little bit slow there as well, but I think maybe a bit of a contrast would have been nice there.
which is supposed to be a contrast. It's an ABA piece, so
Of
of course
course,
it's
of
supposed to be
course.
contrast.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
And yeah, and the neutering of the piano. I don't know if it was by the technician or Boulez himself, but I have a bit of a problem with the last the ultimate note was quite good in the sense that it had a lot of presence.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you can do much more with a grand piano. It's not like it's not an upright. It's a grand piano. You have so many possibilities, and to limit yourself to playing weakly because Chopin didn't have as good pianos at the time, I'm not really in favor of that. Again, I like the extremes. I like when you bring out the absolute pianissimo and the thunderous fortes.
Right. I totally get what you mean there, but I also want to remind you, Bullet was kind of in really frail health at the time. I don't think he would have played it this way in the 70s, for example.
That might be, and that is interesting. I'm not contesting that. It's still, even in frail condition, I think there's maybe some denial or lack of honesty in the sense that this nocturne can be played extremely frailly. This is
Right.
not
Right.
a grand nocturne. This is not the C minor nocturne,
Right,
which
of
has
course.
to have some gusto, some tempestuousness. This can be played extremely quietly.
Right.
And still, I sense a kind of reticence to play it like this, to
Right.
accept that the frail health is there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely something that is worth its own discussion. But do we want to go to the next recording, or do we have any other comments that we want to talk about on this recording?
Yeah, let's go to the next one. I
Yeah.
see it's one of Nyiregyhazi's actually.
Yeah, I actually picked out a Nyiregyhazi recording. I'm warming up.
Times are changing.
Times are changing. All
It's
right.
a very interesting one you've written.
Wait, let's pause that one because we have to talk about what we just heard before we go on to the next one. Okay, so that was the Nyiregyhazi recording of Chopin's C sharp minor prelude, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah, C sharp minor, right. And I was grabbed to it because it sounded skittish almost. Like, I don't know how to spell that, but wait, let me try spelling it. Skittish. Like that. Like, it kind of sounded interesting that way. I kind of dug it, I dig it. So I kind of picked that one out, and I'm curious to hear what you guys think, because I know you guys adore Nyiregyhazi quite a bit.
Well, yes, what's not to like?
Fair enough.
There's this interesting quote by Nyiregyhazi on Chopin where he, let me find it. He insisted that the sentimentality was essential for Chopin, and that he said that he didn't like how the way pianists played Chopin with a lack of respect, poking fun at his bleeding heart.
Ah, that's interesting.
And I guess this kind of ties back to what we were talking about earlier. I wouldn't apply it necessarily to the Bullet recording.
Right.
I didn't mind it there as much, but I think, again, I think there's a lot of a, a good deal of musicians, when they play Chopin or when they play music in general, there's a sort of reluctance to kind of wear their hearts on their sleeves, which I think is...
It's unfortunate, isn't it?
Yeah,
Well, it's almost blasphemy.
Yeah, it's quite a sad state of affairs in that point.
yeah.
Uh,
I guess I should also talk about the specific. I mean, this recording is a live one. This comes from Nyiregyhazi's one of his recitals.
yeah.
This one was at the Century Club of California in 1972, where he first played the Third Brahms Piano Sonata.
Oh,
and then he
wow.
proceeded. Yeah, and then this comes from the second half, and he played along with this mazurka. Prelude. He also played three mazurkas, where he also takes all of them. He takes a very glacial tempi. But there's also a good deal of contrast.
Yeah.
I don't feel that they are languishing at all. In fact, I think there's heightened intensity in them when he plays sometimes almost twice as slowly. And that's not only due to the speed, but also in the conviction of his playing.
Well, before we get to the next recording, can I make a suggestion on how we approach this next recording? Because you'll see that this is Kempf, and normally Kempf doesn't play the most excitingly. But this recording, I think, is a little different. I would suggest, for the sake of time, maybe we want to skip to like the octave climax, and because that's where you're going to get the most shock value, if anything.
Well, I'd like to hear all of it because the octave climax doesn't have any meaning without the lead up to it, I think.
Okay, well then I think let's do it then, because I think this is an interesting recording from any standard, especially considering, I mean, this is really not what you associate Kempf with. So I think it's interesting. I think give it a shot. Tell me what you think afterward.
Let's hear it.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
You can pause here so that we can comment.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that is the Kemp recording of Funerai by Liszt. And what I must point out is he broke the octaves in a section. And that's what gave me probably some of the most pleasure I've ever had in a Kemp recording ever, which is kind of amusing. But anyways, I want to hear your thoughts, positives, negatives, anything in between. Hit me.
Unfortunately, I can't really say I'm a big fan of the recording. I guess regarding the sort of the section what is it, the section that's an homage to the Chopin
Polonaise.
heroic Polonaise. I do like the, I think, sort of murmuring effect that he has from, I think, holding down the pedal throughout.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite a nice touch, actually. But on the whole, I did not feel there was
A sense of urgency.
Well, not only urgency, but in general, sort of conviction, intensity. It felt, some sections, it felt like he was playing them as if he was playing a sort of pastoral kind of piece, which I don't think is very appropriate for the sort of mood here.
I see what you mean. Okay. Yeah. No, I totally get what you're saying. Yeah, that the mood doesn't match is what you're saying.
Yeah, he's kind of.
It kind of feels more like Legend Number One than it does feel like Funerai in a sense.
Yeah.
I kind of get what you're saying. No, I get what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I think.
I think it's just it comes largely down to what I find to be a lack of contrast.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I could see that. I could
There's
see
some
that.
sections which I would have liked to hear him play a good deal slower, and other sections
A good
such
deal
as the climax,
faster.
where I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
I
I
got
don't know
you.
what Leo thinks, but those are my.
Yeah, no, I'm curious to hear what you think, Leo.
Well, I'm in general concurrence with Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't touch me the way I think the piece could, but then again, I don't know what the ideal recording of that would be. In a sense, it made me yearn more for the Nyiregyhazi recording of Funerai, which apparently does exist somewhere, but it's lost or something. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. There are a number of recordings Nyiregyhazi made, I think around 1978.
That just got lost
which
to
happens
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think that it's possible the tape might still exist, but I don't know if it does for certain.
Right. Of course. Yeah. No, that makes sense, honestly. Thank you for your thoughts. Hopefully this recording will be a little bit more exciting to you. This is the Chopin Nocturne played by Courteau.
Okay, let's go ahead.
Okay. Um. Oh, I put another Nyiregyhazi in here after this. Oh my goodness,
Yep.
I'm really getting into Ervin these days, I guess. But in any case, how was this nocturne? What are your thoughts, comments?
Is it?
Yeah. I think so. I think my comments from before uh, still apply here. Actually, in
Really?
regards to,
I'm actually
I
intrigued
wish I would
now.
have. Again, I wish I would have had more contrast in this piece. I think I like this a good deal more than the Kempf
Okay.
recording.
Okay.
At least, I mean, a Corto. I mean, technically, from a technical perspective, um, I, I don't fault him very much.
Right.
He has quite a singing tone, um, uh, and I think natural sense of rubato. I don't contest that, but um, it's
Not
the
enough
middle
contrast.
section. The middle section, I would have liked to hear, I guess, a good deal more storminess, especially because, first of all, I can't because the climate the middle section doesn't actually last for too long.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
thus, I think there should be a good deal of fervor and storminess packed into it.
Storm und Drang, if you will.
Yeah. The other sections and the other sections, I would have. I mean, I don't mind them as much, but I think I would have personally taken them slower. So I won't say this is necessarily a bad recording.
Right,
It's just
right.
leaves me. I think it just a little bit leaves a little bit more to be desired. But that's my general thoughts. I mean, I'm not a massive Cortel fan. I think again, like I think he has a singing tone, and I wouldn't necessarily call him unmusical, but you know, I think his recordings he's more of a standard to be overcome. I think I've heard this before, but I'll use that phrase rather than something to necessarily aspire to as a sort of endpoint.
Right. Okay. I see what you mean. Okay. Leo, your thoughts?
Well, the standard to be overcome were my words. So you know where I stand.
Okay, so you guys are kind of in agreement here. Okay.
Yeah, I like this a lot more than the ballet, to be
Okay.
honest.
Okay.
I think there is already more contrast, but I don't think this is how would you say that? I don't think this is the epitome of what music, especially Chopin, could be.
Fair
There
enough.
is so much more that could be done. Not necessarily technically. Technically, Couture was a very fine pianist. Nothing to say there. But musically, as Vincent said, I would take these A sections much slower. It's or at least variate them more, because they they keep the same nonchalant stroll all the way throughout. It's not a narrative much more than it is an ambience. Yeah, I think a good way to put this is most players, and Koto to an extent does this as well, turn this into a more ambiatic piece than a narrative piece.
Right.
I don't think if that makes sense.
I see what you're saying in a way, like the kind of thing that you would kind of like listen to while sipping a tea on the fireplace, sort of thing.
Well, not necessarily. I could be sitting and drinking a tea while listening to Parsifal, for instance.
Right.
But that's not the issue. It's more something that fills a space instead of capturing attention.
I see. Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay.
Yep.
What do you think?
Right.
What do you think, Vincent?
I think I'm in general agreement. Yeah, again, it doesn't, it's, I can't fault it technically again, but I think
Well, we're not here to fault
be
anything.
more interesting.
I hope you don't think any less of me for choosing recordings that are a little bit not up to your aesthetic preferences.
No, I don't mind at all. I think it's good to listen to recordings that we don't necessarily agree with.
Yeah, I think it's there are recordings that I'm gonna like that you guys aren't gonna like all the time, and vice versa. So I think it's a good, healthy exercise, and I think musicians in general really need to do this more often with recordings they like and with not liking. So.
Well, and go a step further. They should do what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Put into words what they don't like.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's not enough to say that you don't enjoy it, or
right, of course,
that you enjoy it. It's important to say to be aware of what exactly you like about it or dislike about it.
Right, of course. I 100% agree with that. Well, anyways, should we go on? Yeah, we should.
Yep.
Oh, wait, sorry, I pressed play twice. Okay, there we go. I think that was exquisite.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't have much more to say. Nyiregyhazi excels in
Pieces like this, I
Lakers.
think pieces like this, I think there's no one better.
Yeah. Well, I suppose I should be more specific. I like the technique that he that is common among some older generations of pianists, but especially prevalent in with Nyiregyhazi of desyncing the hands as a sort of expressive effect. And this is also something Leo and I were talking about before, but I do find it a little sad that it's something that has largely disappeared because of the change in attitude towards that of more sort of quote unquote technical perfection.
Right.
Which I find this is not that's not the sort of route I want to go down with when I play music.
Yeah, I recall hearing Lewenthal, who admired Nyiregyhazi very much, speak in an interview with David Dubal about how expressive it was to play with the hands like that, as you're expressing. So I see a lot of potential in possibly playing the hands not always together, but maybe like with a delay in between the hands is what we're talking about. And actually, this is a funny story. I used to play the opening motif from the Schubert Liszt Serenade with the hands separate, but then my mom complained about it, and I had to explain to her what rubato was, and she still did not get it. But that's a side tangent.
Yeah.
Anyways, Leo, your thoughts?
I think this.
Sorry, Vince, go ahead.
Go
Sorry, I don't know what to do. I don't know. Who wants to go? I just rock, paper, scissors over it. I don't know.
Yeah, Leo. Leo can go, and then I had another thought, but I'll say it after.
Sure.
Again, it's not a mistake in my mind that Nyiregyhazi is my favorite pianist. Especially in those kind of pieces. Those kind of pieces I try to show to new listeners of Nyiregyhazi. I usually don't start with the big bombastic Valet de Roman, for instance. I tend to start with this or Abendglocken, simply because they are so readily expressive. You don't have to try to understand. This leads into the bigger issue, or the big question is, why do we have to explain rubato to people? Of course, there's the scientific side of it, but rubato should explain itself, should it not? It's an expressive quality. We shouldn't have to explain and say, oh well, delaying one hand gives more subject to one melody instead of. Why do we have to do this?
Well, in my mom's defense, she's a doctor.
Yeah.
Is it what?
My mom's a doctor. She's not a musician, so in her defense.
Well, it's not a defense insofar as I think these are very human qualities.
Fair enough, then.
Being an accountant should divorce you from these realities, just as they did with, like, Franz Kafka. Kafka was an accountant. He still wrote some of the more expressive things that are put to words in literature.
Fair enough,
it's not
actually.
An excuse. And it's not so much about blaming your mother. I don't care about blaming your mother. I want to understand the forces behind why we have to justify ourselves in expressivity.
Right. No, I see what you mean now. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I would also say, actually, my point was related to this.
Okay.
Funnily enough, I would also say that when we approach this, as musicians, when we approach using these techniques, they should be done in a very intuitive fashion. I don't think, like, when I play with a rubato and desyncing the hands, there's not a very rigorous process behind it. It's just whatever it is that I feel is instinctual and emotive.
I see what you mean.
And I think that's when with some performers nowadays, they want to try to treat expressivity as a sort of science.
Yeah, that's like the, what is it called? It's like playing with your head instead of your heart, sort of thing.
Yeah,
I get what you mean.
I'm not advising that one shouldn't use their head at all. But in fact, I would go as far to argue that being able to play with this sort of intuitive expressivity represents more depth of thought than taking a sort of rigorous approach to playing music without considering why, for example, they play this way.
Right.
I often find with, for example, some teachers will will be large sticklers that, oh, you didn't follow this crescendo, you did this a beat too early, or and I wonder if they ever think about why, like why they are being so rigid about it, beyond the fact that
the composer wrote it down that way, or something like
score.
that.
And I don't. My hypothesis is that I wager at least some of them, it's not something that they've thought about too much.
Well, it's possible. As I said, it's probably just because it's the way they were taught and the way their teachers were taught, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Well,
at the same time, I think
only that. Again, I think it's. Sorry. Go.
No, go ahead.
Well, I think it's about the fact that they don't have to think about it in their minds, because the score justifies itself. You don't have to argue with the score because it's written down.
Right.
You can argue insofar as, is it really what the composer wrote down? But insofar as you're interpreting a piece, you don't have to argue. You're just there as a, elaborate gramophone.
Right.
You're not supposed to think about what you're playing. You're supposed to read what's written and play it as is. So you don't ask yourself these questions because it's in the design not to ask yourself these questions.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of asking questions, here is someone who was always very curious, so much so that he even wrote his own arrangement of a Czerny etude, even though, let's be honest, I don't think anyone else would have done this. This is Raymond Lewenthal, who coincidentally very much admired Nyiregyhazi, but he has his own kind of playing style. And by the way, I highly recommend to anyone listening who's curious about Nyiregyhazi, I've linked in the description of this video Lewenthal talking about his experience listening to Nyiregyhazi when he was a boy. It's very interesting insights about the legend. So anyways, without further ado, here's Lewenthal playing his own arrangement of Czerny's etude. Yeah, that's one of my oldest videos on my channel because I was the one who notated that arrangement. I used Cherny's dynamics, but I notated what Lewenthal did because it deviates significantly from what Cherny wrote down, and I think that's perfectly okay because it's actually a lot more charming this way, I think. But I want to hear what you guys think. What did you think?
I think it's a nice little piece.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's probably the technique that I'm afraid of the most.
Mm-hmm.
It's horrible. I detest it.
The fast running
Actually, I'm currently
notes.
learning. Yeah, I'm currently learning Beethoven's Pathetique,
Mm-hmm.
and the last movement. These kinds of passages are the ones that are giving me the most problems.
Okay.
It's not, the big scales or big arpeggios or whatever. It's just the very calm, very steady left hand and some random things in the right hand. It's annoying, and the cleanliness was very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a nice little piece.
Yeah. Okay. Vince, your thoughts?
Yeah, I would also, again, uh, passages with a good deal of fast finger work is also somewhat of a weakness of mine. I think uh, I do better with I think more endurance type difficulties, such as like large um, um, octave passages. I can handle generally well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Uh, I think I'm not. I must admit, I'm actually not too familiar with the original Trini Etude here, but I think
Yeah. I don't think many people are.
it's yeah. Um, it's at least good that Lewenthal has at least some degree of sort of um, independence of thought when it comes to this in terms of writing his own version of it.
Yeah.
In fact, I would even encourage people to go further with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Right.
Do we want to go to the
We have
next video?
Roland?
I think there's like 11 in the playlist total, but a lot of them are very short, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Next one.
Okay. So that was the second constellation of. Oh wait, pause this one. Yeah. Yeah. Um. So this is.
Yep.
Yeah. What are you guys' thoughts?
Salil there.
I think his
He might
internet is
be.
kind of. His internet is kind of. Is he there?
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're here. You're good. Good. I can
Oh,
hear
okay.
you.
Trying to collect. I'm trying to collect my thoughts.
Okay. I was just
Well,
wondering
first of all,
because the next video is still running.
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, well, it's paused on my side.
Okay. It's paused on mine
Okay.
too. So.
So let me rejoin.
Yeah, I paused it at 00.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. It's okay. There we go. Okay. I think it was just lagging a little bit.
Why is? Oh, now it's okay. There we
Do you
go.
wanna? I've been giving my thoughts.
Yeah.
First. You wanna
Let's
go
hear
first?
it. Let's hear it.
I can. Well, first of all, it was nice not hearing the. Which one was it? The third?
The third one
constellation,
is the popular
constellation?
one. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It was nice not hearing that one for the upteenth time. No, seriously, it's a nice piece. Don't get me wrong.
Right. Of
It's
course.
just there are other constellations as well,
Of course.
and there are actually more than just Liszt. There's the Great Cycle by Boschkevich.
Right.
The,
Of course.
Lamentation and Constellations. This was nice playing. It didn't. I think from Horowitz one could find much better recordings. This wouldn't be the one I would choose if I were to try to present Horowitz to a new audience or describe to anyone why he was great. It was good playing. Again, it was like Coteau. I think it was good.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could do much better, and I think. And let me add this: I think it is a failure on their part to stick to the score to that extent. I think these pieces are not meant to be so bland. There's so to do with it, and they don't do it. And I think it's a musical failure on some sort of level. I'm not sure how big, but to me it is.
I see what you mean. Yeah. Well, again, these are really small pieces, so I would estimate that the failure level is probably not as profound as it would be for something larger if I'm understanding it correctly, but still the
Well,
stakes.
it's about a general disposition towards music. So maybe taken as its own, it's not as big a failure. It's about a general sentiment, though.
Right.
This piece is symptomatic of something larger.
Oh, yes, I see what you mean. Yeah, I see what you mean. Okay. Yeah. I think it's a nice recording personally. I think it's one of Horowitz's better Liszt recordings, but the fact that he can't get more out of Liszt in other pieces is pretty shocking for me and pretty terrifying, actually, considering Horowitz's reputation. Vince, your thoughts?
I will add on to. Yeah. I think I don't necessarily mind the sort of pastoral character of this inherently. Like I think it's certainly more appropriate than, for example, in Futurai.
Right.
Maybe it would. I wonder if it would make more sense in context if we listened. I'm not suggesting this. I'm just thinking about this. We listened to all the 6 constellations as a set, because I know the first one, for example, is quite a contemplative piece.
Yeah,
So, for example,
the only
between those
problem
two,
is
like I'd imagine I'd play the first one very slowly and with a good deal of sort of pathos. And the second one, perhaps, maybe I would play with a little bit more lefty. But
The only problem is I don't think there are that many good recordings of the whole set. I've only Horowitz, as far as I know, he's recorded number 2 quite a good deal of times, number 3 even more, and then he's only recorded number 4 and number 5 once each, and he never touched number 1 or 6.
Yeah.
But that's a separate issue. Now, I'm going to give you a preface before we start the next recording. I've marked all the octaves in the left hand as staccato, and I don't do that. So, yeah, you'll just see for yourself.
Yeah, let's listen.
Good. Play.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep.
You can pause anytime.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's me, by the way. Put me on full blast. What do you got?
I think I know you mentioned you wrote staccato in there, and you don't necessarily play it like fully staccato. I think that was pretty effective, actually.
Thank
it
you.
gives those octaves a weightier sort of quality than if you strictly followed the staccato marking. And again, I think this ties back to what we were discussing earlier about taking a more intuitive approach to music rather than just blindly following what's written on the score. I mean, even here, as you were the transcriber of this, I think it's sort of. I think I would reckon that you put in the staccatos just as give a somewhat detached quality in there, but I think when you performed it, you followed what was intuitive for you, which was to give those a sort of again a weightier quality, which I think works much better than if you just played them like
Detached.
very staccato. Yeah, like somewhat detached, but not very.
Right, yeah. I struck a little bit of a balance there, I think. Leo, your thoughts?
Let me think. I think, and I'd be interested in an answer that was immediate, but also a more reflective answer after some time. Why you immediately assumed that it was an inconvenience that you did not play the staccato octaves?
Oh, I was prefacing that for my viewers.
No, what interests me is why, and this ties into what Vincent just said, why you didn't realize that it was your own intuition to play these octaves, not staccato.
Oh, I see.
And warn us that they were not staccato.
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. I'll have to think on that. I mean, I guess it's because you two have actually seen the sheet music for it. I've given you free copies. By the way, shameless plug. If you guys wanted the arrangement, it's on Sheet Music Plus. I'll leave a link in the description. Sorry, I had to do a shameless plug. I'm sorry.
No problem. I mean, I mean, I don't have the score with me right now. Even if I was following it, I don't think I would have really batted an eye.
Fair enough.
Not playing the octave staccato, because I realized that that's what you find is intuitively best.
Right. I went by what the moment called for, and at that moment I felt like I don't really want to do it that staccato-y.
Yeah. I think this.
But
is
my question was.
Go on.
Go on.
Oh no, Leo,
Well,
you can go ahead. Yeah.
All right. Well, my question was more so relating to why you thought it was not only noteworthy, but also worthy of a disclaimer.
Because I was more so prefacing the viewers, but yes, I gave it a disclaimer because if someone were to buy the sheet music, by the way, link in the description, I wouldn't want them to think that I guess I just wanted to disclaim that because I don't want them to think I didn't know what I was doing by ignoring the staccatos. I wanted them to know I was deliberately choosing to ignore it because I felt like that moment, I felt like I wanted to do something else, and that's perfectly okay.
Yeah, but my question was, why did you immediately assume that you, as the transcriber, would not have made such a deliberate choice as play the written staccato octaves as not staccato? And why you defaulted to, again, a warning is not something you do about something that's good usually.
Right.
So my question is, why, I guess more so, why is it ingrained in our culture that
I
those
see where
choices
you're
are
getting
not
at now.
good or cannot be good?
Yeah. Okay. It is kind of ingrained in our culture, isn't it? Yeah, that's something that probably needs to change sooner than later.
Yeah, but why? Why is it like that? Why it needs to change?
Isn't it like harmful for how the music industry conducts itself? I mean, it really just, at this point, it's just like, my God. Like, I don't have my face cam on right now,
Not only the industry, but also just
musicians in
music as a
general, yeah.
phenomenon.
Musicians in general, yeah. It doesn't help music making at all.
Then the question is reiterated: why is it like this?
I think
it can be an open question. We don't need an answer.
Oh, we don't need it. We don't need an. I see what you mean. Okay, yeah. Okay, it's a rhetorical question. Okay.
Not rhetorical, just open.
Open. Oh, okay. Okay. I just equated the two because both of them don't require an answer, but I see what you mean.
Rhetorical is technically that I already know the answer,
right?
So that the answer is implied. This is I don't have an implied answer. I'm genuinely interested in what other people think.
Okay. Oh, that's the difference. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know.
Putting it out there, don't need an answer that's immediate, but I'd still like an answer there.
That's fair. All right. Do we want to go on to the next performance? This is. Do we have any other comments, or do we want to go on to the next performance?
I'm just thinking about Leo's question. I don't really have an answer at the moment, but it's certainly one that I would like to think about.
Yeah, we could definitely discuss it further at some point. Maybe it's a topic for another video, honestly.
I'm wondering how do we get to this point where active expressivity in music is vehemently discouraged in favor of blind adherence to the score.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think we can proceed to the next video.
Second to last one on my playlist.
Very well. Let's go.
All right, that was actually a very important recording for me personally, because I listened to when I was a boy. I listened to the acoustic recording of Watts playing that piece in the 1980s, um, uh, when I was younger, and I remember the recording in the 1980s was not as good as this 2018 recording, but it was probably significant enough for me to want to become a pianist, because I saw someone who had a darker skin color playing the piano at a high level, and that's what inspired me. It was like, holy cow, I could do this too. You know what I mean? But this was better playing than the 1980s recording, in my opinion.
I like the somewhat slower tempo he takes here. I think I don't really think Antispiro is a virtuoso piece. I mean, it is an etude, but I
Right.
don't think it really, if it's played in a virtuoso sort of fashion.
Yeah, of course, of course. I like it more lyrical, and this is definitely in that direction. I think so.
Yep.
Leo, your thoughts?
All around, good playing. I've never been too great of a fan of this piece, mainly because it's overplayed. It's not a bad piece. It's just everyone plays it.
Right.
So I don't have a big emotional connection to this piece. But it was very good playing. I don't deny that at all. There was some very interesting idiosyncratic technical things that he did, like rolling his hand, which I don't see done very often or at all. But I do myself actually quite often.
Interesting.
It's interesting to see someone else do that.
Yeah. Well, we are at the final video of my playlist, and this is the Brazilian pianist Guiomar Novaes. She plays a prelude of Rachmaninoff. Should we listen?
Yeah, let's commence.
Let's commence. And that was my playlist. What are your thoughts on the last video?
Well, first of all, I didn't know that G sharp minor prelude was number 12. I always thought it was like number 9, but like after the B minor prelude, which doesn't make any sense because it's number 10, but I didn't know it was the penultimate one, which changes the set a lot for me, especially if it's to be taken as a whole. So quite a dark ending. Before the D flat major, of course. Otherwise, I liked the playing. I would have liked a tad more aggressiveness sometimes.
Okay.
This prelude has a lot of spikes, and I saw this a bit subdued. It's an effect. I think it's an effect that you can very well use, and it's up to taste at that point. But yeah, I'd like to see a bit more spice, a bit more hotness.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, I think Novaya's. I think it's. I think her approach to this piece is more of a sort of how do I say it? It's
maybe warm.
It brings to mind more of a kind of like a sort of a slow burn rather than I think an active sort of scalding approach. I think I would have liked to see a little bit more ferocity in this, but I do not necessarily fault the playing. I think Novaya's is generally a pretty solid pianist.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, that was my playlist. And thank you guys for listening to that one. Do we want to go to Vince's next?
Sure, yeah, but I don't have much time. I'd like to get back to practice. I have to.
Oh yeah, we have to. I have to practice too, actually. So actually, you know what? I wasn't planning on making it a 2-parter or a 3-parter, but seeing how long this dragged out, do you guys want to say if we get 1 like on this video, we will do this again for part 2 and part 3 respectively?
Sure.
All right. All right. Leave a like if you want part 2.